Hello everyone, I am Dr. Viswanath M. Aluru. Welcome to Connecting Minds. In previous episode, we discussed about AI infrastructure spend as well as AI technology spend and how there is an asymmetry between these two. We also discussed the idea about uncoupling the AI infrastructure spend from the technology spend. So in this episode, we're going to focus on the AI real estate, that is data centers. Again, this is a simulated conversation based on Grok research. In this episode, we will interview with the Blackstone CEO, Mr. Steven Schwartzman, on AI real estate, which is data centers. This is based on Blackstone's public statements, portfolio updates, earnings and industry data as of mid-2026. Schwartzman's voice reflects his real-world emphasis on long-term leases, power constraints, conservative underwriting, and the transformative scale of AI infrastructure. So let's get started. Blackstone has become one of the largest players in AI-related real estate through data centers. So we asked Steve to walk us through the opportunities that Blackstone is seeing, especially in terms of markets and collaborations. So according to Mr. Schwartzman, the opportunity is extraordinary. And still we're in the early innings. AI technology itself remains one of the greatest advancements in this century. And it requires enormous compute, which means physical infrastructure, including data centers at a scale that we have never seen before. Hyperscalers are committing hundreds of billions of dollars annually. Overall, AI infrastructure spending is running into trillions of dollars over the coming few years. But Blackstone got into this game very early with the acquisition of QTS in 2021, well before the ChatGPT inflection point. And that acquisition capacity has grown significantly 15 times since then. So the global data center platform now sits at around $165 to $185 billion for Blackstone, including assets under construction, with a development pipeline of about another $160 billion. So they're committing on the order of $100 billion across by the end of 2026. The real constraint is the power. State of North Virginia remains the world's largest hub and a core focus, but Blackstone is also very active in other states, including Pennsylvania, Ohio, with available power and land infrastructure. They're also constructing data centers across the globe in Europe, Asia Pacific, via air trunk, and expanding aggressively into Japan and India as well. So the collaboration is the key. According to Steve, they're not building data centers speculatively. Projects typically require long-term leases with investment-grade hyperscale customers as a priority. They're partnered with Digital Realty on developments and recently sold them a stake in 3 fully leased Northern Virginia centers totaling of 288 megawatts, valued up to $7.8 billion. They also launched a venture with Google that we discussed in our last episode to bring 500 megawatts of capacity online in 2027 with access to their TPUs, starting with a $5 billion equity and potential total investment of up to $25 billion. They're also working across the ecosystem, energy partners for behind-the-meter generation and pipelines, chip-related financing, and co-investments. So the barriers to entry into this market, for example, like power constraints, zoning, capital intensity, keep the supply discipline and the returns are attractive for the capital. That's good to know about the collaborations and the market opportunity for AI infrastructure. Second question was, the scale is massive, right? But with that scale also comes the challenges. For example, the laws are very different in different states and different countries. And there is also public resistance for building these massive data centers, and the investment cost itself that is needed in order to build these AI data centers. Let's see what Blackstone CEO has to say about this. So according to Steve, the power availability is the primary bottleneck, followed by permits and the community acceptance. The local zoning and land use rules, they vary widely and can slow or even block some projects. We have seen special exceptional requirements expand even in established markets like Virginia. Public resistance has intensified. Concerns over electricity bills, water usage for cooling, and data center noise, traffic, and limited permanent jobs related to the capital that is being invested into building these data centers. Tax incentives, these are some of the concerns. Polling has shown that majority of opposition in many communities to hosting AI data centers are local. They have had projects adjusted or even withdrawn sometimes in response to this protest from local communities. QTS, for example, terminated one large data center project in Virginia after prolonged opposition. So Blackstone has taken this issue very seriously. They are focused on jobs, union jobs, and workforce training, water-free or lower water cooling systems where possible, expanded local power generation capacity, and meaningful economic investments in the communities where they are building these data centers. Of course, the key is going to be the transparency and early engagement with the communities. Still, the pushback is very real and bipartisan in some places, and it has delayed or even cancelled tens of billions of dollars in announced projects industry-wide. So in regards to the cost of this data center building, these are capital-intensive assets. Industry benchmarks for shell and core construction roughly about $11 million per megawatt globally in 2026. AI-optimized facilities with higher density liquid cooling systems, heavier electrical infrastructure, they even run substantially higher, all in construction and often up to $20 to $37 million per megawatt range, depending on the specifications and location. A large hyperscale campus can easily reach multi-billion dollars in total. One recent set of 396 megawatt facilities, totaling up to 288 megawatts, was valued at $7.8 billion, including remaining development cap. Broader 1 gigawatt AI campuses are modeled in the tens of billions of dollars when including the full stack through the pure real estate, a large but not the dominant share compared with the servers and chips. So that's how much capital intensive these projects are. When it comes to the timelines for building this AI data center, massive data centers, I was wondering what is the current timeline and what is the roadmap and future challenges are going to be. According to Mr. Schwartzman, the momentum is accelerating. Leasing has stepped up sharply. Blackstone platforms leased about 1 gigawatt in 2024, 2 gigawatts in 2025, and they're expected at least 7 gigawatts in 2026. Specific projects under construction or stabilizing in 27 and 2028. The overall pipeline is multi-year, early relative to the prolonged projected demand. Stabilized newly built assets are also becoming an ownership opportunity. Blackstone has launched a dedicated REIT vehicle focused on that segment because the long-term ownership market could grow towards $1 trillion over time. Coming to the roadmap is continued scaling of development platform, deeper integration with power and energy infrastructure, geographic diversification to markets with available power sources, and selective recycling of capital into new opportunities while holding high-quality, long-lease assets. But what are the future challenges are going to be? Future challenges include sustaining power supply growth. Electricity demand growth has flipped from flat to several % annually. navigating ongoing political and community scrutiny, managing construction cost inflation and equipment lead times, water constraints in certain regions, and ensuring the grid and supply chain keep pace without creating much bottlenecks that can slow the AI progress. There's also broader societal conversation around AI's impact, like jobs, environment, leadership in technology. But Blackstone firmly believes that the physical infrastructure need remains robust because you can run the models in the cloud without the underlying real estate and the power. As long as we stick to contracted demand, long duration leases with strong counterparties and responsible development, this remains one of the most compelling real estate and infrastructure themes of our time. This is today's podcast about burgeoning AI real estate and the opportunity. So AI's technology is no longer speculative. Its infrastructure for a technology shift comparable to earlier industrial revolution is massive. The Blackstone is positioned as a major capital provider across the ecosystem precisely because of this view. And we really thank Steve for this virtual conversation on both the upside and the friction points in developing this AI infrastructure. The numbers are large because the need is large. Execution and community partnership will determine how fast this opportunity is realized. Thank you once again for joining this episode of Connecting Minds. I will see you all again in another episode. Thank you. Have a good day.